Build more roads.
Yeah. Alright. SUCIOTALK. Hanging out my main man, Scotto Ciampa. What up, Scott?
Hey, man.
How you doing, man?
Good.
So where are we right now?
We're in Asheville, North Carolina. We're at Burial Beer Company at the brewery that I work at.
Very cool. How long have you been working at this brewery?
Little over a year now.
Okay, very cool, very cool.
Yeah.
As you know on the show, we start with the start of your life. So where were you born?
I was born in Brockton, Massachusetts. Grew up in Stoughton, they're all like 10, 15 minutes south of Boston.
Heard that. And what did Dad do?
Dad was a cop.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Heard that.
Dad was a cop. And a lawyer for a little bit. He was all about the law shit
Got you.
for a little while. He's retired now. Both my parents are retired.
Yeah.
My mom got a job in Boston. Honestly, got to this day, I don't even still know what my mother did. She just worked. She worked in a big-ass building in Boston. It was like a government job. It was something with like shipping and receiving. I don't really know. But
word.
She did that from like high school until she retired.
Okay.
So.
You said your dad was a lawyer and a cop. Was he as passionate about the law and like enforcing it as you were about the industry?
It was weird because like with growing up with my dad being a cop, like I was definitely a troublemaker.
Yeah.
If you would say.
Yeah. Was that because you thought you had something to like prove, or
no? It was just because, honest to God, it was that fucking privilege. It was like that thing that like I know my dad would whip my ass.
Yeah.
But all the other cops knew who I was, so it was like I can get away with some shit. Like that kind of thing.
And did you?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heard that.
Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't something I realized at the time, but it's like I was more scared of my dad than the police, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird growing up in that kind of household because he worked midnight to 8 for a long time. My mom worked like the 5 to whatever shift. So
got you.
One of them was always sleeping. I also grew up with my grandmother, who loved to death. She's obviously not with us anymore.
Yeah.
She was 84 when she passed, but it was mostly her growing up with her. Like, she would cook dinner. She would get me up for school, like all that kind of stuff. So, like, I lived with both my parents, but my grandmother was one that was there like, all the time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And what kind of things was she cooking?
Oof, man. What's Italian?
Oh, okay, got you. Was it like
Ravioli.
legitimately like tomato sauce from canned tomatoes, or like ragu?
She would stab you if you said tomato sauce. It's gravy, Dave.
Okay, my bad. Damn, bro, damn. That's some piece granny.
No, but she was the type of lady, like, I mean, it was everything, like literally everything from the cheap stuff like pasta and eggs all the way to like homemade pasta and that kind of stuff. Like,
okay.
And so, yeah, there was always one day a year, a couple weeks before Christmas, because Christmas Eve, we do the Feast of Seven Fishes, all that. And then Christmas Day would always be at our house. And she would pull me out of school a couple weeks in advance because we were cooking for 20, 25 people.
Okay.
And so and she was old. She was, I mean, old grandma. She
was
obviously old. And she would pull me out, help, like, make me roll the pasta for her, all that. And she would, like, do the filling and all that.
So that was, like, your first foray into, like, cooking, and you obviously enjoyed it because it was with your grandma.
Of course.
Did you think about doing it for a job when you got a little bit older?
No, I mean, my path into, like, the culinary world was the neighborhood I lived in. There was a sub shop up the street that had been there for ever, Danino's, and it was one of those things like I wanted a cell phone and my dad was like, get a job. I was like, all right. I'm like, I'm only 14 though. He's like, well, I'm a cop, I'll get you in.
Okay. Perks of the job.
I was like, cool.
Underage labor.
Yep. And so yeah, the sub shop up the street, I would just go after school there like 3 or 4 times a week, go down in the basement. They had we'd get the big ass blocks of cheese in, got the big knife cutting them and then shredding it down into the pizza cheese and
understood.
And then just making tomato sauce and shit like that in the basement. And that's about the same time that I discovered marijuana. So I would just get high as shit and just like grate cheese
Go
and
work,
eat
yeah.
it in the basement by myself for a
eat it.
while.
How long were you there? You were 14, so...
I was there up in Massachusetts, the legal working age of like 15 and a half, I think it was,
Okay.
something like that. So
Gotcha.
a little over a year. It's actually funny, at this sub shop, I apparently got fired one day, but I didn't realize it because I was stoned. And I like went in. She's like, "We don't need you today." This sweet old lady who ran the place.
Yeah.
She's like, "We don't need you today. Like, you're good." That's what I heard. What she was saying is like, "Don't come back." And
Yeah.
I showed up the next day ready for work, and she didn't have the heart to tell me that
That you had been fired.
And so I just went downstairs, put my apron on, started doing my
Marijuana
shit.
saved your job, bro.
It's wonderful. And then one of the girls I was working with, she was like, "How'd you get your job back?" "What are you talking about?" She's like, "We all just saw you got fired yesterday." I didn't get fired. So I stayed there for a little longer until this place, Foley's, I know we've been to, opened up next door. And
Okay.
It was like he was building it out. I walked over and I asked if he needed any help when he got open, and he was like, "Sure thing." So I started washing dishes there, and that was like my first real like restaurant
Gotcha.
job.
What sort of cooks were you working with? Younger people or like older?
So Dave, the owner of Foley's, was at the time maybe like in his mid 40s.
Okay.
There was, and two other line cooks that were there were in there. One was still like finishing out college, and then another one was a little bit older.
Heard.
So it was kind of a mixed group of people. But it was just that. It was 3 people on the line and a dishwasher, and
Gotcha.
it was quick. It was fast paced shit, but
Yeah.
it was a great place to learn for sure.
While this is all going on, is there any interest? Like, are you in sports in school or anything? Like
Yeah,
that?
so I was playing baseball
Okay.
up through all of this. But yeah, I mean, I kind of faded away. It always ended up being like work over extracurricular, because extracurricular didn't pay me.
Yes. 100%.
So
You got a cell phone bill now.
Exactly. Yeah, I got that phone. But no, I enjoyed working too. Like it was something. I'm not trying to sound all romantic about it, but like honestly, working in a kitchen like that, especially with an older chef who like he was old school in many,
Yeah.
many ways.
Yeah.
And it's something I had never ever seen before. I was like, if this is what fucking work is, then I'm here, baby.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
in.
Go.
Yeah, I'm in.
Let's
Discipline.
fucking go.
Let's go the hard way.
Yep.
That's awesome. And you stayed there for quite a while, no?
I was there for a little over 6 years. I worked all the
Heard.
way through high school and into college up
Gotcha.
until I ended up leaving.
Yeah.
Up like the Northeast, pretty much.
Heard that. So did you always want to go to culinary school?
No,
Like
I
once you started
actually
at Foley's?
I didn't even know culinary school was a thing.
I heard that. Heard.
I was like I said, I was working at Foley's. My like strong suits, I guess, in school was always like math and science. So I always thought I would end up doing something with that.
Okay.
Then I realized if you don't get good grades in high school, you don't get into good colleges. So
You're like, that's done.
yeah. So it's like, all right. I like cooking. Culinary
Yeah.
school is a thing, apparently. Johnson & Wales is right down the road.
Exactly.
Let me check it out. Did orientation. I was like, all these kids are as fucked up as me. This is going to be great.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I found my people. So you decide to go to culinary school, and are your parents at this point like, what are you doing?
No,
Were
my
they
parents.
super supportive.
My parents at this point, they both had planned on retiring. They're not old, but older than parents normally are at that age. My dad, I have a half brother who's 8 years older than me. He got remarried, and so, I mean, the career of a cop isn't that long, and also near the end of his career, he was fucking fed up with all the shit that was going on.
Yeah.
And it was one of those deals, like, he was offered a chance to, like, get out, and he was like, see you later.
Yeah, I'm
never
taking
talking to y'all again.
Heard that.
And so they bought a little plot of land here in North Carolina out in Lake Lair, which is about 45 minutes away. And they were just waiting for the day I graduated high school, and they were like,
See you later.
see ya. And they
Gotcha.
were like, you can come if you want, but I didn't. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to school here. And they were just happy that I was doing something.
You found something that you
Yeah.
liked. Yeah. Very cool. Then you get to culinary school, and is it what you expect?
No. I mean, no and yes. I mean, I had no idea what to expect, really. Because, like, I know 6 years isn't that long of a time, and you're young doing all this shit, but, like, what I didn't expect was, which is a part that I really liked about it, was like how many different ways there are to cook. Because I worked for one dude for so long. It was like, this is the way to do it. And he was like, fast pace, let's get plates out. He'll fucking throw a plate against the wall if it's not quality. This is
old school.
Like, work fast, but be better than everyone else. That's what he would always say. So I'm like, all right. And that was kind of a wake-up call for me when I got to culinary school, because I met people like you and Tyler, and I was like, fuck, these people know food.
Yeah.
I know how to work a line. Like, it's a very, very different thing.
Yeah.
And that's the aspect that I really liked about it, was like that fast pace. Like, up in the, you're from Connecticut, you know, like during Lent, Friday, fish day. Like, and so
fish or pizza.
At the time, I had been there for 4 or 5 years. I was running the line, and I was working saute. My boss came in, he's like, Friday, you're working fry. And I was like offended at first. I was like, why am I working fry? Like, why are you demoting me? And he's like, it's fucking Lent, dude. I need you at fry. And I'm like, all right. And so I'm because it's Boston, so everything's fresh. You get that fish in that morning. You get your beer batter together, all this. So tickets start pouring in, and I'm getting shit breaded up, and I turn around to look at the tickets, and Dave's standing there, and my favorite thing ever, he's like, I'm not fucking paying you to look at tickets, I'm paying you to fucking fry fish. And I turn around, I was like, okay. So turn around, I was like, what? Here? I'm looking down the rest of the night.
Don't look at the tickets.
Here you go. Like, that's the kind of shit that I love.
Gotcha. It's crazy to talk about that now, because you know, that's what we loved. That's what we looked up to. And obviously it's not the best way to do things.
Of course.
And now we're learning a big lesson, and we have to kind of change the narrative of our industry.
Without a doubt.
I just remember the first, I'm pretty sure it was the first night that we were at school. It was the first time I'd ever seen cocaine use. So you bring your buddies from Stoughton, and I'm like, oh, they're doing cocaine. Like, I've only seen Scarface. That's crazy. Like, these kids are my age. Where are you guys getting this? You know, are you guys going to Florida to get this? You know, I have no idea about cocaine. Like, I've only done weed, and that's all I know.
And to be honest, we didn't either. We don't know what the fuck we were doing.
That night, like, some of your friends ended up fighting each other outside, and I was like, this is the real college experience. So thank you for that, Scott.
I emerged you into Boston very quickly.
Real quick.
Do a bunch of drugs, beat the shit out of each other, have some beers.
And then be like, hey, it's okay. It's okay, guy. Come here. That's very cool. Where was your first jobs in college? Because me, I did a work study, and then I sold weed. Like, I didn't really have a restaurant job.
Yeah, so in school, so I was still working in Foley's. I was doing the whole commute back and forth.
Yeah, you were doing weekends over there, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was doing weekdays. I was doing
that's right.
I was doing the morning labs. Get out at 2, have to be at the restaurant by 4. It was an hour away, so I'm just going back and forth, come back, party until it's time for class, and it was just a horrible cycle.
Yeah, 100%.
But man, I'm drawing a blank on the fucking. The only job I worked in Providence was this, like, I'm drawing a blank on the name right now, but it was a breakfast spot, and also they did lunch. Wasn't a cafe. They had a bar, but I worked the breakfast shift for a little bit.
Yeah. I remember you becoming, like, a chef really early. Like, there was a restaurant that you were, like, heading up. Not like the chef, but you were, like, managing the kitchen. I thought that was pretty cool at our age, you know.
Yeah, that would have been full. I was running the catering part of it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was working the line, and then that was the weekend thing that I would do all the catering gigs. I took that off Dave's plate, so I would go off and, like, do offsite stuff, which I thought I loved a lot, just doing that. And so when I was at Johnson & Wales, that's kind of what I wanted to put my focus towards, was maybe like a catering gig or something like that. And yeah, even John, our freshman neighbor.
John Diamore?
Shout out to John.
Yeah,
his aunt ran a catering company out in San Antonio that we went down and we did the Alamo Bowl one weekend.
Oh, sweet.
So like that's kind of what like my focus was on for a bit until I just didn't want to fucking cook anymore.
Yeah.